30,000 feet above the Atlantic, Senior Officer Daniel Hayes thought the hardest part of his mission would be the war zone waiting on the other side of the ocean. He had led men through deserts choked with smoke, negotiated ceasefires in cities that had forgotten the meaning of peace, and buried friends with a salute that trembled only after the final note of the bugle faded. But nothing in his decorated career prepared him for the quiet vibration of his phone in the dim cabin of that overnight flight. The aircraft hummed steadily, a metallic lullaby to exhausted soldiers and business travelers alike. Daniel sat rigid in his seat, uniform crisp, metals catching the faint glow of the reading light above him. He opened his laptop to review classified briefings one last time before landing overseas. Instead, a new email notification blinked at the corner of his screen. The sender's name made his breath stall, his wife, Amelia. He allowed himself a faint smile at first, imagining a message of encouragement, perhaps a photo of their home, a reminder that something beautiful waited beyond the smoke and strategy. He clicked. The subject line was cold and formal, divorce papers attached. For a moment he assumed it was a mistake, some cruel phishing scam. But as his eyes scanned the body of the message, the cabin seemed to shrink around him. Amelia's words were brief and surgical. She confessed she had been seeing someone else for months. She said she couldn't live in the shadow of his missions, couldn't endure the loneliness of loving a man who belonged to his country before his family. She had filed for divorce. She had transferred funds, sold the house, taken what she called her share of everything they built. She ended it with a line that cut deeper than any accusation. I hope you find what you're really fighting for. Daniel stared at the screen until the letters blurred. Around him, passengers shifted, flight attendants rolled carts down the aisle, and somewhere a child laughed. The world continued as if his hadn't just collapsed. He felt neither anger nor tears at first, only a hollow disbelief. He thought of the nights he spent under foreign stars clutching a satellite phone, waiting for a voice. He thought of anniversaries celebrated over patchy video calls, of promises to take her to Paris once peace allowed it. He had believed sacrifice was proof of love. Now he wondered if sacrifice had simply been absence. His jaw tightened, but his posture did not falter. Years of discipline wrapped around his breaking heart like armor. The officer beside him, a young lieutenant on his first deployment, glanced at Daniel's pale face and asked quietly if he was all right. Daniel closed the laptop with deliberate calm and replied, "Focus on the mission." The words were meant for himself as much as for the lieutenant. He leaned back and closed his eyes, letting the steady roar of the engines drown the echo of Amelia's confession. In that suspended space between continents, he confronted a brutal truth: titles, ranks, and medals meant nothing against betrayal. Yet as the initial shock gave way to a slow-burning ache, something else surfaced: clarity. He realized that the mission ahead was not just about borders or orders. It was about the men and women who trusted him to lead them home alive. His personal world might have fractured, but their lives still depended on his strength. He inhaled deeply, steadying his heartbeat. Pain would have to wait. When the plane began its descent hours later, dawn bled across the horizon in streaks of crimson and gold. Daniel watched the sunrise and felt a quiet shift within himself. He could not control Amelia's choices, but he could control his response. He would not let betrayal define him. He would complete his mission with honor, not as a man abandoned, but as a leader refined by fire. And perhaps, in serving something greater than himself, he would rediscover who he was beyond a broken marriage. If this story moved you, if you believe strength is forged in the darkest moments and that resilience is louder than betrayal, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join us for more powerful stories that remind us no storm is stronger than the human spirit.